Welcome to this Manufacturing Technology Conference Tech Talk. This Tech Talk is not about product technology, but about collaborating on achieving the best technology solutions. By which I mean that you have a technology solution that does what it's supposed to do, that can be produced, and that makes the customer happy. Allow me to first introduce myself. My name is Maureen. I am a continuous improvement expert working in production, R&D, services, all functions and sectors, with many companies, large and small, local and global, amongst which Shell, Philips and ASML. Continuous improvement to me is about organizing any work in such a way that the customer is excited and that everybody involved in the work can excel. I work for the Kaizen Institute. Kaizen stands for continuous improvement, and we work with our client organizations to embed a continuous improvement culture that powers profitable growth. We are a global company with local presence in over 60 countries, ensuring we are always where you are. As I said earlier, we need to make sure that everybody involved in getting the work organized and executed must be empowered to excel. This means we are looking at the work across the full spectrum from plan all the way to reuse. It's not enough for two consecutive links or contributors in this chain to work together. Rather, the whole needs to work as one system to deliver the perfect gift to the customer time and time again. And to do this in a cost-effective way so that every contributor achieves fair profit. These supply chains are complex. There are not many vertically integrated companies around, companies that execute every link themselves. Usually, we see supply chains in which multiple companies must work together. Multiple companies means multiple priorities, multiple strategies, expertise, plannings, values and beliefs, and multiple P&Ls. And that's hard to put in one system and make it work flawlessly. Let's look at some examples of collaboration systems that have not yet mastered the skill of flawless execution. In this example, field service is called in because the customer system has failed. It seems the trouble is with the PCB board, which is swapped to restore operations for the customer. The defective part is sent back to the engineering partner, who does root cause analysis and finds the problem. They redesign the board and put it into the supply chain so that from now on, every new spare part of this board will function correctly. And although you may question the time it takes to get to this point, so far the process is working. When it comes to deploying the new board, there's a snag. The responsible function in the supply chain for spare parts inventory refuses to destroy the old parts in stock because of the financial cost. And next, when that hurdle has been overcome, there's another problem. It turns out that in order to install the new board, the customer system has to be brought down to allow for a software update first. A software update that will need to run for 4 hours. This does not sit well with the field service guys who prefer to continue to swap defective parts in a much shorter time. Needless to say, but after 1 year, the problem still persists and customers continue to suffer system failures. Not to mention the sunk costs for suppliers that made the new spare part which was not deployed. Here's another example. One that hurts the parties in the supply chain financially. We're looking at a company that delivers motion-compensated gangway systems for access to offshore assets, so people and materials can be brought on and off safely and efficiently. As the solution provider came to install the gangway, it turned out that the initial measurements of the target ship were wrong. To solve this, they had to add a grill and frame on the spot, incurring an extra cost of 77%. Of course, these costs were claimed from the contracting party, but the reputation damage could not easily be undone. So what's happening here? Well, each link is working hard to perform. They all feel the pressure. They are all using their knowledge and talents, and they are all driving their strategy. But there's no synergy, there's no synchronization. There are too many captains running the ship, as it were. As these kinds of problems occur, the individual links in the chain start to try to anticipate the problems they know will arise and start to compensate. In our first example, the supplier will stop producing a new spare part. But what about the need to include this part in new systems? In our second example, the delivering party starts to double-check the first measurements, incurring double work. The result is something we call bullwhip effect, where a small change at the source turns to exponential impact as we travel along the supply chain, leading to longer lead times, higher inventory levels, and more quality defects. And everyone loses. Well, not everyone. The big fish, the fish with power, money, and direct access to the customer, come out on top. And they feed themselves with the smaller fish. But as we all know, if the big fish keep feeding themselves with the smaller fish, the food supply will dry up. Or in terms of the supply chain, the chain starts to starve. So what we're looking for is this: a system in which everyone is equally important, where the benefits are shared fairly, and where everyone is recognized for their knowledge, expertise, and contribution. Together, we thrive. To achieve this, we need openness, sharing, and trust. How do we get there? Because time is limited today, let's focus on the interconnectivity between engineering and manufacturing to discuss how to get there. It's a meaningful start, since every decision taken in the early stages of engineering casts its shadow across every other step in the supply chain, multiplying time, cost, and quality issues. The traditional product development cycle is plagued by loopbacks, which don't only become increasingly and very costly as we move down every consecutive step in the chain, but also too often end in compromise at the customer's expense. So does any of this sound familiar to you? Do you recognize these problems? You're not alone. In fact, the National Center for Manufacturing Science studied multiple companies' engineering to manufacturing performance across these 6 factors. From unplanned design loopbacks through manufacturing startup and project variability. Scoring each factor from negative performance, like routine unplanned design loopbacks, to positive performance, where you would never have unplanned design loopbacks. And they found these average scores. Well, that does show a lot of potential to improve, does it not? Here's the best practice according to their study. And yes, it is Toyota. Toyota scores are much more on the positive impact range of the factors than the average. So what is Toyota doing differently? Toyota has experienced that loopbacks can be avoided when the different companies involved in developing, making, building and servicing the customer solutions become partners in crime and work together, building trust from the same understanding of the end outcome by including all partners' perspectives. Shared understanding of each other's strengths, developing knowledge together, leveraging each other's strengths to optimize the design concept. Establishing reusable standards and allowing the partners to remove the waste that was generated before their collaboration. At Kaizen Institute, we have learned from Toyota to help organizations move to the right of the scale. We enable you to achieve this benchmark performance by deploying Kaizen product development that includes set-based engineering, rapid learning cycles, lean project management, and vertical startup. We, and I personally, have a track record of results with Philips, Bosch, and Shell, where we significantly improve the results by fostering the collaboration across the supply chain. We have demonstrated that the best way to build trust and openness is to build one shared perspective of reality together, so everyone sees where things get stuck and why. Commit to a future state where nothing gets stuck anymore and everyone wins. By working in joint teams that leverage everyone's knowledge and results are achieved in quality, cost, speed, growth, and employee engagement. When you deploy these concepts, you will move from left to right. Would you like to know what Kaizen product development can mean for you? Get to know our one-day assessment to find out, or buy into our practitioner training. Thank you for your attention, and au revoir.